Like, why the fuck is this logo shining so much, bro? Why?
Humans questioning death caused the birth of storytelling. Wait, but how? I'm going to answer this question at the end of this video because this video is important to understand that question. First of all, why I'm even making this video? So, in the past week, for the people who are not subscribed to the channel or don't know me yet, in the previous week I thought of starting a personal branding agency. For that, I have to learn various skills needed for making good videos, making connections, making people understand or connect with the people they want to connect with. So to provide good services to my clients, I have to learn skills. I have to become top in my industry. And that's why content content creation, storytelling is an important part. That's why I thought, why not go deep into storytelling? I thought how deep it would be. How deep will it be to tell stories? Like it's just the beginning, middle part, and end. That's all the story is about, isn't it? But I didn't knew that story has so rich history. Stories help people survive. I didn't knew about it. How did stories help people survive? I'm going to tell you in this video why stories are important. First of all, why do even stories matter to us? Why we don't just why do we remember stories more than facts? Even though facts are easy, they are direct and they help us in survival. Why do we still remember stories better than facts? Stories are so easy to understand that even children understand it, man. So why is it that the case? It is because humans are more emotional than rational. They prefer emotions over reasoning. Why emotions? Because emotions help us build communities. Emotions help us bond. What the if you want to manage your people, you tell the things, you pass it to the people, okay? If you have a close person to you, with you, you're going to tell him what you learned that will help him survive. But what about a community? You don't know every single person in a community or a tribe, isn't it? That's why stories play important role. People die, stories survive. There are many stories which are still present to this day. These stories are 4,000 years old, man, but they still survive today. Why? First of all, let us understand difference between philosophy and stories. Philosophies are abstract and generalized. On the other hand, stories are concrete and individual. Philosophy asks us, why do we even exist? Stories ask us, how did people survive? Philosophy tells us what is ought to be. Stories tells us what was. Philosophy asks very abstract questions that very few resonate with. That's why maybe you have seen the classes of philosophy have really less students. On the other hand, stories nearly everyone resonate. In short, stories helped us survive and literature helped us strive. If you want to really understand someone, ask them about the story. If you even think of the world's most cruelest man and ask him to tell his story, you'll start to sympathize with him. Stories are so powerful. The difference between history and literature stories is that whenever you see history, they are written by the people who won. Like if you see the history of an war, the most of the data you will get is from the people who won the war, who triumphed in the war. That's why history is a bit of complex and biased. On the other hand, stories are completely written by the outsiders. They tell you what the condition was during the war. That's why history was top to down and stories were bottom to up. Now let's come to the most important answer. Why mortality, the questioning of death, caused the birth of storytelling? That was because mortality was the most anxious question of all time humanity has ever faced. People went people fought wars for it. People crossed all of the limits to achieve immortality, but still they didn't get anything from all of the trials and tribulations they went through. Immortality is the thing every human desired. And that's why people went long journeys and they thought immense about the question of immortality. And then at the end of the chains of thoughts, what what we achieved? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Immortality couldn't be achieved. And that's why people started making their own stories, because humans like fulfillment. If you are not fulfilled by something, you're always anxious. The question of mortality caused us to make many stories that about many things. We made religions, we made a concept of afterlife. After that, we made the concepts of heaven and hell. We made a lot of stories to tackle the question of mortality. Even the first written story, the epic of Gilgamesh, was a story about mortality. See about the story of Gilgamesh, who in search of immortality went for a journey, but he returned empty hands, and he realized that immortality lies in lasting achievements, not in biological eternity. And that's, my friend, bro, what the and that's why storytelling is really important. I'm going to learn a lot more about storytelling after this, and soon there will be a video that what I learned from the storytelling and how can I use it into my content creation journey. So that's it for today. I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, keep hustling. Take care. Bye.